This is Show versus Business, where pop culture meets pop money, with your host, the real Theo Harvey and Mr. Benja. So, Mr. Benja, what's been going on?
Oh man, it is the new year, 2024. People talking noise already. We got bombshells and bangers. Oh man, Katt Williams is coming through. We got a whole year of awesomeness. We made some big strides, and we're going to tell you all about how 2024 is going to happen as well because we're just mentalos like that. We've just got that mind power. We can see the future. This is going to be interesting because we're changing up the format a little bit. I just want to jump in and let everybody know before we had these news stories, and that's fine, and that's great, but Theo and I go back. How far is it, Theo?
Oh, decades, man, decades.
Oh, man, yeah, we go back. We found that our banter was really going well, and we think you guys would really like to have our stories integrated more into a conversation as opposed to a news thing. This is just a little behind the scenes. Don't go telling your friends what we're doing. Just let them find out later. But Theo, let me ask you this. How your resolutions going, man? You got them already? You quit them
Man,
already? What are you doing?
the six, statistically, end of the January is where everybody ends their resolution, right? Yeah. I was just thinking about what you're saying. Yeah, man, we do go back, man. I think I was telling you I went to my storage unit over the break, and then I went into some boxes, found some old pictures of you, one of my ex girlfriends. I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, what is this? We go bad, man. Oh my goodness. I told my wife, I said, man, this I ain't like, man, you just forget stuff. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah,
Digress.
yeah.
All right. So yeah, man, I don't do resolutions anymore. I think I haven't done it in a long time. Resolutions are great and wonderful. Most of them are losing weight, do all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
I set goals, right? And I've done that consistently for years. But this year I'm just been super hyped. And we talked about on previous podcasts because I had the opportunity to do Dr. Benjamin Hardy, the author of 10X is easier than 2X. He had a 8-week program at the end of 1023 to help you prepare for your goal setting for 2024. So that just really energized all my thoughts around that. And
So
so
it
I've
was
been
worth it.
super hyped. Oh yeah, I definitely highly recommend anyone definitely read the book. He's going to have another book coming out called Rapid Transformation. I think, yeah, basically probably some of the techniques. So I thought it was awesome, man. So he's an author, right? So let's check this out. So now is he getting insight of his stories for the book that he's writing, and he's getting more data from his group he launched at the end of the week to help his new book that he's going to launch. But he also asking us to do a video and seeing how it helped them. So now he's already got recommendations and stuff like that for this book he's going to launch
Nice.
probably in the springtime. So I was like, man, this, and I think he might be doing this new format for all his books, right? Some kind of 8-week kind of challenge program that
Yeah.
someone pays to get into it. And then basically he's got like a rough draft of a book and he's going to just give it to these folks. And because he made us sign an NDA. And so
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. So it's like a new way of launching a book is creating a mastermind group for the book.
Yeah.
But it's enhancing the book as he's getting insights.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I digress on that, but I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. It's
Did you have any
definitely.
comments on that? I thought,
Yeah, that's a gem there. A lot of people wonder about buying courses from gurus. I don't even know if you call Dr. Benjamin Hardy a guru. He just happens to be an author who's talked to a lot of them. But no, his stuff is great, and it's funny. His format actually sounds like an evolution of Tim Grawl. I don't know if you know that guy,
"Mm,
but Tim Grawl basically wrote the format for that was his book, Your First 1,000 Copies. But he basically wrote the format for gurus getting out all of their books, and I think that was just before the free book thing happened where you just send shipping and handling. He was
mhm."
basically like, hey, he did Daniel Pink's Drive and Steve Pressfield, I believe his name is. Yeah. The
Oh
art
yeah, we're
War of Art.
subscribed. Oh,
Mhm.
Warbark. Okay, Daniel Priestley. Does that name sound familiar?
Sounds that name sounds familiar, but I don't know who it is right off bat.
Okay. But yeah, oh wow. So like I said, it's everyone has their kind of format of how they get their books out. But yeah, he's a PhD, right? And he's just really hype Dr. Benjamin Hardy, not to go down a rabbit hole too much, but he came to prominence because he worked with Dan Sullivan, who's a big time strategic entrepreneur coach for like decades.
Yeah.
And so he pitched him. They wrote that book, Who Not How. And he basically pitched Dan Sullivan on say, hey, I can accelerate your knowledge set by letting me write the book for you.
Yeah.
Right. And so he partnered with Dan Sullivan to write these 3 books, Who Not How, 10X is Easier Than 2X. And then there was the other book he wrote. I forgot. It's off the tip of my tongue. But anyway, so he wrote 3 books and they all were
The Gap in
bangers.
the
So
Game.
yes, The Gap in the Game. Yeah, they were all bangers, and it's amazing. So yeah, so a lot of that knowledge set he's bringing it to his own, and so he talked about it in the 8-week session. He said, "Hey guys, yeah, I was with him, and then I tried to re-up, and I guess Dan Sullivan decided not to re-up with him. And so he was like a little bitter at first, but he said I shook it off, and I used that past not as pain, but as fuel to help
Right.
me get to the next level." So I was like, there you go. And yeah, he was very transparent in it. And I was very honored to be a part of that process. So make the long story short, the reason why I'm talking about this is because it helped me reshape how I think about my goals and goal setting. And really, sometimes I would get frustrated and angry because I would look at my old notebooks and say, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. And that kind of reshaped my thoughts around that. Now I'm looking at the progress I did make and
Yeah.
give
So
the focus on that only.
yeah, I think that's a lot of people's problem, or not problem, but that's an obstacle that trips up a lot of people when they don't know. And this is, I have a different version of goals, which I don't do anymore. I actually don't do goals. I do like resolutions, and I'm operating off a trajectory. But anyway, no, the whole idea that you don't know what the future is going to be, so you can't really tell how you're supposed to do it or how it's going to feel and what you'll think about it as you do it. You just have to get out there, and then you're like, oh, I stumbled a little bit. It's not like I failed. I just need to adjust some things.
Yeah.
And
But there's also it's like the future and the past are just tools. That's basically what he's telling you. It's not You're not defined by your past and you're not defined by your aspirations for the future. You just use them to help you now. And
yeah,
that's really what's eye-opening to me. So to your point, the future is always a draft. Yes, you write it down,
yeah,
so I'm gonna do this and do that, but it's changing. You might know new things. You're like, oh, I really don't need to do that. And that's how you rapidly accelerate your future goal into who you feel like you could be in your future self. Likewise, you don't get hampered down by all the regret and pain from your past because all the things you should have did. That was always my issue. I was like, I look through all my books and oh man, and do that this year, and do that and do that.
right, right,
And then you like, I don't feel like doing anything. So
right. That's what,
because
yeah, yeah. Like
it's
don't
just
you think you failed? Yeah,
yeah. So that was so make a long story short, that's energized me for this year. So this week I already had some peak experiences. Like I was able to take my daughter. I went to Part of my goal setting was finding who's right. Who do I want to connect with to accelerate my
yeah,
business? I was just business goals, financial goals, some personal health goals I'm trying to achieve, but also relationship goals. And
okay,
so I was able to combine two. I really three. I went to Ryan McGann's conference, the Pension Summit in St. Pete, which is about an hour here from Tampa. If you don't know Ryan McGann, he's a behind the scenes guru.
okay,
He works with the big names like Grant Cardone and Chris Cole. I don't know if you know him.
yeah,
And he worked with Alex Hormozy previously. And his claim to fame was the short form. He went all in on TikTok and
yeah.
kind of made TikTok a thing for these gurus. And so he was hyping that at his summit.
This is, and I love what you're doing here, and I just want you to realize that this is the hypest I've seen you just about steps, process, development. I think I've ever seen you. Is this like a special moment where you can look back and say, "Wow, that was the moment where I flipped into."
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I leveled up, man. That I've been a bit, really, I leveled up when we had a conversation. I never forget, Mr. Benja, is when I saw Grant Cardone and the Undercover Billionaire. We just went all in on that a couple years, about 18 months ago almost. And that was the kind of the period when I got clicked on to these whole gurus like the Myron Golden and the Russell Brunson and then the Alex Hormozy. And so now I've been really focused in on like how do I just continue to invest in myself, right? And so that's what's been keeping me elevated and keeping me excited. So yeah, I appreciate that and seeing the light that's in me, shine. But yeah, really been very thoughtful. And then to your point, putting content out there with my own brand at the real Theo Harvey. I'm saying a lot of the same things, and people are reaching out to me. One person reached out, and I was able to help them. They were like, "How do you set your goals? You get because there's so many things to do." And I told them, "Yeah, it's easy. I used to get like that too, very overwhelmed, because you got all these ideas you want to do."
Yeah,
And then I got this one idea from Rose Hand, and she suggested, and people have said this before, but like you should only have 3 goals, right, maximum. but you also should probably compress them into 90 days. And so I told them, and this is what I've been doing. Like I write down everything that I'm thinking about. Oh yeah, I want to do this. I want to go to Mount Everest. I want to go fly a plane. I want to do this. And he said, okay, what's the top three that I want to do this quarter? And just stay focused on those things. Yes, that list is still there. You'll get to it, but at least you're knocking off three things off that list. And that's part of the gap in the game concept, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, make a long story short, man. So I went to SvB, I had the summit, and I had the chance to bring my daughter, my 11-year-old. She'll be 12 this month. And so she attended with me. A little racy, Ryan again gets a little spicy with the language, but, and some of the commentary. But I was trying to show her the behind the scenes of how some of these TikTok influencers go by.
Oh,
So,
very nice,
so
very
she
nice.
learned a little bit. How much can she learn as 11-year-old? That's always the
Right.
my
But
mind. But
but no,
hopefully the seed is
part of it
there.
is there's to me, when because my mom used to bring me to stuff, my dad used to bring me to stuff, and I always got the idea that, "Oh, wow, there's a much bigger machine behind all of this." There's something that's causing all of these people to show up here on a Saturday morning. We're doing all this work, and I'm like, "What kinda conference thing is this?" My mom's, "Okay, we're gonna do this and go there and go talk to these people." And I was like, "Okay." I didn't know the opera world was this crazy. It was a
It's crazy. You don't understand. After dark gets wild.
I never knew what
Watch
mom
out.
was in.
I know, man. Woo. Yeah. So then afterwards for lunch, we had sushi. And then if you don't know, in St. Petersburg, there's the Dolly Museum. So I took her to the Dolly
I've been
Museum.
there.
Yeah. I did too when I was in high school, like 20 years ago. And Dolly, man, it's that blew my mind too. I don't know how much she soaked it in, but he was just ahead of his curve. I've been seeing his evolution from what they call impressionists, right? Where it was just like flowers, Monet, this landscaping until
Yeah.
surrealism and how everything's looking freaky and funky and then how he got into his evolution into more religion and science, right? Some of those
Mhm.
big murals that he has, right? With crosses and then the atomic chemicals. And then also some of the optical illusion one. So it was like amazing. And
Oh,
she was excited
you
about
know what
that.
he called his art, right?
What do you call it?
People were asking him, "Do you think of yourself as a surrealist? Are you a grotesque portraiture? Or what do you call yourself?" And he said, "Hand painted dream photographs. That's what I do. Hand
Insight.
painted dream photographs." That's what he makes.
I love it, man. As an artist, I know you can go more detailed into all the different styles and the different formats of what he's doing there. But I was impressed, man. Just and hopefully my daughter got a lot out of it. And I definitely felt that we both got a little closer. So relationship, I got close to my daughter.
Good job.
Uh r- with business wise, got some potential new who's. I met some high level guys who could help me with some of my Facebook ads. And so it's a relationship, financial, and then what's the other one is health. Uh yeah, we got to walk around a nice little park. But that was health wise. So and some healthy food. So yeah, man, I knocked off 3 goals in one day, man. Boom. I did it. Done for
Very
the year.
nice.
What
I'm
about
gonna
you, man?
I'm gonna go ahead and say it, man. You should mark this time as special. The turnaround from 2023 to 2024. I see it in the way you speak and the way you think about things a little differently. I like it. I like it. Love it.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. What about you, man? What you got going on?
So I was playing around with some different formats and I decided let me go back to what I was doing on Instagram, but just do live audio. So now I'm doing a faceless podcast, live audio. I'm really pumping and all goes back to threads. I kept going through threads and I was like, what's threads going to say about this content? I want threads to be the first. So it's like, you know what? They're probably better with audio content. Maybe if I just make a simple blog and list all the podcasts there, it doesn't kick them out to YouTube or whatever. It just seems like more of a threads thing. And the podcast is Creativity Threads Life. That's like the next iteration of the ADD experience. But it's great, man. I jumped back in the driver's seat and was like, whew, do I remember how to talk shit? Let's see. And it just flowed. I was like, yes. And it flowed great, man. It's a whole different format than this. But I think I got a lot of good practice here just talking with you. You help me get my facts together sometimes. You're like, "No, hold on now, Mr. Ben." Oh, shit, what'd I say? But yeah, so, clocking it in at an hour, trying to stay at that range, but, some people jump in the comments sometimes, it goes longer. It's
So wow, so you're talking for a whole hour. So would you have a topic or you have a topic list and you just go through it or how do you that's a long time to talk by yourself. I'm
hey,
not
hey,
a freestyle.
I'm not talking about myself, but I'm talking
I
just
mean,
yeah,
yeah, by yourself. That's what I meant to say. By yourself.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that'd be pretty awesome to talk about myself for an hour. Hey, so, what did I eat last night? Oh, yeah. No, it's fun. I do it pretty much nightly. So Monday through Friday, I just sit down. And that's another thing. I didn't want to do the camera version and all that because it's just harder to get everything together. I If I do it at different times of day, sometimes a little light comes in through the window. I don't have blackout curtains on this one window yet, so it slightly messes with the light. Eh, just screw it all. So I get in there, just turn on the mic. Hey, everybody. Boom. Start talking noise about a topic. I generally have, it's all about creativity. That's why it's called Creativity Threads Life. It's but about entertainment, personal creativity, improving yourself so you can create a better environment around you, and some aspect of creativity. But we're going to talk about Katt Williams in a little bit. Yeah, I just went through and talked about Katt Williams and Joker Peters, and it was a great time. And people jumped in the comments, and I'm flowing with it again. This after thread because I start talking about it on threads, like in text mode, and when I get a conversation going, I'm like, you know what? I'm going in live tonight. We can continue this there. And later on, I'll post the link back, and it's great. Just having fun.
Love it, man. I love it. So that is awesome to talk that long, man, about just off the dome and build up. And I love what you're doing, building up conversations, right? I think that's always powerful. If you can build more of a conversational and you like a moderator, if you will, but they're giving you ideas if they're talking, man. And then that's how you build true community. So I definitely commend you on doing that, Mr. Benja. That is something that I'm striving for to figure that out over time. But because ultimately that's what you want. If you become quote unquote guru. Really, you really want guru. Basically, everybody's looking at you and it's okay, what you gonna do? Just, oh, it's all on me now. But if you could create community like Dan Henry is, what's he call it? The Get Clients University.
Yeah.
So I've been looking at that. So I think Dan Henry got tired. So he was like, I got to figure something easy. So he create this community. And so yes, he's still there to interject and everything, but you see so much crosstalk. Everybody's communicating, helping each other, doing stuff. And that's what you want because now you can step out. And so, but yeah, man, kudos to you, man. Keep pushing it, building it up. And yeah, would love to see how you evolve it, man. Yeah. This the
Oh, but
evolution of Theo and Ben, man, Mr. Benja, man. We are
but
always on the move.
so let me ask you this right quick. If you have a goal in mind, I was about to say a resolution, but if you have a goal in mind for your 90 days or 30 days, however you decide to break it out, do you take that goal and put it in a form where you're putting it out to the world and trying to manifest it like by speaking it first and by visualizing it and everybody, hey guys, we're doing this and I'm doing this, we're going this way, that's what's happening, and everybody's oh, and works with you, or are you more, let me keep this quiet, let me just push this process until it pops out at the end, and then you're like, okay, I did this.
Yeah. That's a good point. I got several different goals, as you can imagine. So there's the goals, personal goals, and those are ones that, especially with this new Ben Hardy concept, I'm going to evolve those constantly because I'm going to push the envelope every week, every day, every week, every month. So I have an ultimate goal when I'm trying to achieve the next 90 days. I'm focused on that, and then the next year. But then I'm trying to accelerate those by. I said I'm going to do this in 90 days. Can I do it in a month? I said I was going to do that in a month. Can I do that in a week? I said I was going to do it in a week. Can I do it in a day? And so I'm
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to play with that. That's personal. Family goals, when me and my family sit down, everybody writes their goals. And yes, I give them my 3 months goals. And so we all sit down and talk about them. So yes, I do express more intimately. And then I got my business goals. And yes, I display it to my business partner and then to the rest of the team. But yeah, those are like the three levels of goals I have. And
Right,
so
right.
two of them I am more vocal with it with groups. But the personal one, I'm really keeping that in house because I want to see how fast I can accelerate it, making that internal challenge this year.
Yeah. I think I've I think I've gone completely dark on any of the manifesting by speaking it out because, as you said, you change by the week, the month, or whatever, and you're like, screw it, I got to change that. And if you put a resolution out there that said something like, I'm going to lose 25 pounds, but in reality, you just wanted to be able to run up the steps of the library because you ran up the steps of the library last time and you passed out and rolled back down, and everybody was, everybody, you're like, plop, plop. Yeah. Yeah. I've completely gone dark on a lot of resolutions. Like, I only told you about the podcast pretty much when I had already started into it and it was already happening, it was already a thing. And then, so for me, what I'm trying to do, did I tell you about remarkable resolutions? Oh my gosh.
No.
Oh my gosh. Let me ask you this. Have you heard about remarkable resolutions? This is my new thing, and I'm going to drop it here. I've tried it out for the past couple of years. I'm going to drop it here on Show versus Business as an exclusive.
Yes,
I
let's
have a
do it.
concept called remarkable resolution.
Exclusive.
I don't
Exclusive.
I don't care how you set up your goals, your priorities, your objectives, your aspirations, your strategies, tactics, your trajectory, any of that. I don't care how you set up your goals. What I'm wondering about is whatever resolution you make, is it remarkable? And by remarkable, I mean that in the literal sense of the word. Can what you do cause somebody to remark almost against their will? So if you say you're going to lose weight and you tell people and you write it down and you put it on your board or whatever, I don't care about any of that. What I care about is, did you do it to the extent where someone says something? Are you walking into your grandma's house and she's like, boy, you look slim? You're like, that's right. And she's gonna try to give you biscuits to fatten you up. She's like, "Nah, grandma, I'm sorry." She's like, "Why?" And you don't tell her because you're not worried about telling it to anybody. You're worried about being remarkable in
Mhm.
any sense of the word. It's crazy how much that bugged me with one little bit of this person I know. I had this resolution going on, and I won't explain it here, but I was like, I have to present such a force of reality with this resolution that they're they've got to acknowledge it in some form or fashion.
Mm. Mhm.
And then at some point, it's like cross paths and they're like, "I acknowledge you." And I'm like, "That's right. That's right."
I like that. I like that. That's a good way of looking at it. And to be honest, and now that you went into that framework, you have mentioned that before, but I'm glad you rephrased it again because it does make sense. And Dr. Benjamin Hardy talks about that. He said personal victories precede public victories. And so basically that's what you're doing. You're elevating yourself so high that those public victories are really seen. And then also he talks about that floor concept by
Mhm.
elevating your floor and your character when you start saying no to certain things. Like I've be honest with you, this week, I would say no to a lot of my team. I was like, nope, I don't do that no more. You're gonna do it. I said, nope, I can't do that no more. And so now my flow has raised up. And so now they're gonna be like, dang, what's Theo
Yeah.
doing? Or for instance, not to interject, but I was
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
thinking about this one thing. Remember before the pod, we talked about some of this, and I had mentioned to you that so every week my team they do a data analysis of our YouTube channel and all that stuff and see what's happening. Sometimes I can't make those meetings, so they record it for me. I think I mentioned to them, say, "Hey guys, we're at this level. We're going to 10x it next year. We got 1,000 across all platforms followers. Let's get to 10,000 followers, and by the end of next year." So listen to them, and they were all three of them on the team. They're like, Theo said something about 10,000. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to happen. I love it. 'Cause now they're
Yeah,
remarking on the future goal that I've set that is like
exactly.
something that they can't even perceive. So to your
Yeah.
point, that remarkable concept goes on all the different dimensions, your character of who you are. So people
Mhm.
just see that, what you say no to, what you aspire to, they
Right, right.
remark on, wow, he's aspired to something I didn't even know about. And then they
And
finally remark on your what you actually achieved. And
exactly.
so to your point, they can remark on all those different aspects.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be necessarily verbal. If they say it in their heads and you can watch their actions respond, they're remarking on your presence, your goal, your force, your energy, whatever you want to say. For example, if you say, I'm going to be much nicer to this waitress, much nicer to people just in general, right? I'm going to be much nicer to people. So you're at a restaurant and the waitress treats you extra nice. And you're just like, huh, that's never happened to me before in my life. And suddenly you realize that you're starting to achieve your resolution or your goal of being nicer to people. So it's a way to quantify more more ephemeral goals, like I want to get healthy. It's no, I want to be able to run up the steps of that library and not roll down like a bum because that's what happened last time. And that's actually based on a story I put in my pod last week. True
Oh
story.
no. Oh no. I
I
love
was,
it, Mr. Benja.
I was on the ground and people were looking at me like, "Is he okay?"
Oh no.
So I actually tripped. I wasn't just out of breath. That that was that was a problem. I was like, I just couldn't get my leg up high enough. I was
Oh,
too I was too slow about 2/3 of the way up the stairs.
oh
Uh,
man, I know, man. Jeez, and then my knees been giving me issues, so that's one thing. Definitely personal wise, I'm trying to get a little healthier because yeah, it's just been sore. So luckily it's getting better now since I've been doing some different things. But I love it, Mr. Benjamin. Man, I see the energy in you as well. It's both glowing. Man, I'm getting like you, man. I think I love this time of year, man. This I was like, I'm loving it. I'm cleaning up
fresh start.
things. Yeah, man. Fresh start, man. It feels regenerated. Just feel like a new person and I'm excited about what's coming next. So yeah, man.
You staying drama free?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Ooh, I don't got time for all that.
The reason I brought that up because let me ask you this: did you see the Cat Williams interview from the Shay Shay Club with Shannon
Oh,
Sharp?
no. Are we gonna do this, Mr. Benja? Are we gonna do this?
We got to talk about it. We don't.
Can I just say something real quick?
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Yeah, man, we'll talk about everybody knows in the world. If you haven't known, Katt Williams went viral for a 3-hour podcast with Shannon Sharp, a football player of all people, and just went ham on I'd ask mess if you don't know what that means, on all the different comedians and public figures in Black America. But regardless of that, Mr. Benja, when I saw it, and I think I sent it to you. But did you see it before I sent it to you?
I when I'm sometimes I start fast scrolling through X's trending topics or whatever, and I think I may have seen Cat Williams' name, but I did not take notice. No, you're the person who put me on it. I'll just go ahead and say it.
Yeah, I don't know who put me on it first. Maybe it was my wife. Yeah, she's always a little ahead of the curve. She just what she does. So I was like, okay, let me check this out. So I sat down. I said, oh, Cat Williams. But then I started looking. I said, oh, he is wilding. And then went viral. So went viral in this case for a 3-hour podcast to get what at the recording was that 25 million views or 23 million views.
Yeah,
It was just going through the roof for 3 hours. Let's be honest, 3-hour podcast is not short. And for when I first saw it, and then I came back a day later, and it was amazing how many people took clips from that and put faces of all the people you talked about, looking mad, looking at
yeah,
Cat Williams. And there was, I don't know who these people were, but they were getting thousands of views, just commenting and reposting the same stuff. It was just like
yeah.
blowing my mind of how people were making money off of this. So anyway, that's my take on it. I guess we're going to do the same thing. I'm sure some bitches gonna happen to Cat Williams fighting a bunch of folks. So yes, please can share when you see this.
I see you setting up your video editor already. This is gonna be great.
So yeah, do you want to get into? I'll let you start since you already commented in the public discourse already.
No, it was just funny to me. It's we just started 2024, and I'm sitting around like, huh, 2024 is pretty calm so far. Then like the radio bomb drop by Funk Master Flex. You got to get on this, and okay. So I'm actually a fan of internal competition amongst groups. That sounded way off, but by groups, I just mean by a certain industry. When it's the iron sharpens iron thing, where you've got 2 or 3 or 4 at max groups or people going at each other. You've got IBM versus Apple or Microsoft versus Apple in the software race. You've got Coke versus Pepsi, DC versus Marvel. What's another one, Theo?
Oh, there's so many. Shoot.
Yeah.
Cisco versus Nortel, but that's like a
Yeah,
industry
exactly.
specific one. Yes. And
I wasn't expecting you to say that one.
I know. That's way back in my IT days. But yeah, there's so many, man.
The thing with this one, every once in a while, you get these competitions that keep people on their toes. Even in music and comedy, Kanye West and wait, who was Kanye West going up against? Not 50 Cent that one time, but I don't.
What time? So many.
Yeah, exactly.
Jay-Z and Nas, Jay-Z
Pick
and Nas
somebody.
at one time, Jay-Z and Nas at one time. Yep.
Yeah, But and Joe Rogan, Carlos Mencia, if you want to stick to comedy. But every once in a while, you get an awesome occurrence where it's one versus everybody. When you get just scorched earth kind of stuff, right? Where he puts like these 2 or 3 people behind him is that, "See these guys? They're okay. Everybody else, flames." And
Yeah, man. Okay, so many different angles to take on this. We can talk about specifics of what he talked about. What was your general feeling? First of all, did you listen to the whole 3 hour podcast?
I actually did. I actually stopped and, went back and listened to the whole thing. For a while, it was on 2x speed, and yeah, his voice at 2x speed is funny, but it was good.
It was. That was an amazing thing. It was longer than The Color Purple. It was longer than Oppenheimer. Some movies we watched this year. It was crazy how long it was. And to your point, you mentioned, and that's the stuff that YouTube wants, right? They want that. We're talking, put my business hat on. They want that content that keep people engaged for a long period of time. And that's probably why it was super viral, because it was so long and everything was a banger. You just didn't know what he was going to say next. And then that was made it super interesting. But I listened to the first half and I was like, man, this is too much, but he was wilding. And then I tried to find some clips about different things he said. I was like, I missed that part. Let me go back. So I finally finished it yesterday and I was just like, wow, this dude, man, he was just going in. High level though, Katt Williams is problematic, let's be honest. Well, I think this might be controversial, but Katt Williams had some issues in the past. Look, we put him on pedestal now because of this he's talking about. But he said some outlandish things. I think he said he was a genius and what he some of the things I felt were true, some of the things were a little bit suspect. So was there anything that just stood out for you? We'll just talk about,
Well,
I think the way I want to frame it.
the
Yeah.
obvious one is I was reading like 3,000 books a week. What do you say? You think I'm exaggerating, but I think that is what it was.
Yes. I think I heard that. I think he said it was in Mensa. He was a genius, 7.
3,000 books a year, he says. Okay.
Yeah. He said he could have what it was just a bunch of stuff. He ran the 440 or something and the 40-yard dash and 4-1 and just highest speed the NFL players ever did was 4-2. So stuff like that. Some was true, some was like Cat Williamisms, right? And
Yeah.
and look, the people new to him, it seems like a lot of white folks. So I have a hot take on this, Mr. Benja. I
Oh,
have a hot take. Yeah.
let me hear it.
I think one of the reasons why he went viral, in addition to all the talking about these folks in comedy world, like Kevin Hart and Steve Harvey and folks that we know, that helped. But also, I think a lot of, let's for lack of a better term, white folks are saying he is the anti, not just white folks. I think anybody that's more liberally minded, that he is the anti um, Dave Chappelle. So you remember, we're not talking about Dave Chappelle just dropped a new special. I don't know if you saw it yet, The Dreamer, and it was
Mhm.
on Netflix. It was okay, but it didn't really light the world on fire. Obviously, we're not talking about it. And one of the things Dave Chappelle has always stand up was that I'm going to get there. We'll land this plane. You're going to see where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle has always talked about comedy. There should be no restrictions, should be no borders. I can talk about anybody, trans
Yeah.
people. I can talk about handicapped people, which he did in this special, make fun of them. And a lot of people think that's in very poor taste that he's punching down. But he said comedy should have them. That's what we're doing. We're supposed to push the boundaries,
Yeah.
right? And that's his take on it. And a lot of comedians and also the white wing media, right? They stand by that stance. So there should be some free speech available out there, and you should be able to say what you want to say.
Yeah.
Cal Williams is saying something different. I don't know if you know in that
Yeah.
comment. And then he's always said this too. I read back in some of the other stuff. He said in Friday, there was a rape scene that we're going to put in the next Friday after next. I think that was the one he
Yeah.
was in. We played Money Mike. He said there was going to be a rape scene in there. And he said, I told him to take it out. I said, rape is never funny. You should never joke about that.
Right.
And he said, there are certain words we use at a time. We can't use those words anymore. And so there's restrictions about what you say. And then when I went deep dive, he talked about all these other things about it's just like playing a basketball game. There are boundaries, right? That's what you can say and what you can't say. So he's on the other end, right? We had Dave Chappelle here, and I got Cat Williams is saying, yes, there are boundaries. There are words you should never say to stay funny and relevant. And so a lot of folks, in my opinion, I think a lot of folks really keyed in and now putting Cat Williams up as this bastion of, hey, I can still be funny, but I don't have to be offensive. And so I think that helped a lot of movement toward. What do you think of that take?
Offensive is a broad term. Cat's gonna be offensive. He's just not gonna pick the current labels, terms, categorizations that Dave Chappelle is obviously doing. So, maybe, yeah, maybe that's the term, anti-woke. We are the anti-woke woke brothers, so we understand this.
So go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. Let you take your.
I was just gonna say, think about that for a second. The anti-woke bros. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say that it's interesting. He just came out right when Dave Chappelle dropped his special, and then I jumped. Now, and on something, this podcast, he's been getting some bangers, some folks to show up, and they sit and drink. Basically, he just giggling, and he has some. He's a pretty smart guy. I'm like Dennis Sharp. He's a football player, but he, was on Celebrity Jeopardy and won. Kudos to him.
It's
But he's
it's funny, his way of interviewing, it's not like a journalist. It's not like a comedian, and those are the 2 main types, a journalist who goes out and interviews somebody and a comedian who's talking to entertain. But he's just got this, and yeah, he's been a sportscaster for a while. He's calling plays basically, and he's still got that style of, "Didn't you see what that didn't you see that happen right there? What was that about? Tell me about that." It's like
good
the same way
point.
when you're talking about football or whatever. He's like, "When you did this and cut that way, what made you decide to," and you're like, "Huh, breaking
Good
down
point.
I
Yeah, it's
like
a
that
good
the same
point.
way he
Yeah,
breaks down football." It's just an interesting style to listen to.
yeah, good point. He is doing that, and he even said that he's calling plays even from previous guests. Steve Harvey said this. What you Let me, Cat. You commented on that. What he saying? We're shooting that, and then obviously Cat was very verbal. He said, "Look, I'm a master of the English language, and this is what you craft jokes, and this is how you." It's very articulate. So he was just like right there with a banger the next every
Yeah,
moment,
yeah.
and so very compelling. Yeah, to your point, and so kudos to. I don't know. You get that many views, you get a lot of hate too. So I don't know what that means, but I'm sure Shannon Sharp negotiation time at ESPN. If you don't know, he works on ESPN doing his day job with Stephen A. Smith. It's going to be some big conversations because that thing was so viral that I think Shannon Sharp now is truly on his own platform and he can probably do what he wants.
Yeah, basically. And I don't know how much you need to talk about this, but everybody's wondering about getting money from YouTube and podcasts like this, how you monetize it. So I he's got his alcohol brand, and I'm sure there's a pay scheme going on with people either getting on the show or him paying people to come on the show so he can promote and monetize whatever he's doing. But I've heard some different numbers getting thrown around or how much they think that he made for this one podcast. And I didn't like all those voices, so I went straight to Bard and asked the Google Bard for the answer.
The AI
Yeah,
has won
magic
again.
AI. But yeah, they say a high end scenario where you have a high CPM. That's basically cost per click, earnings per click or whatever. You're gonna get 250,000 to $500,000 in earnings if you got a pretty exceptional agreement. I'm pretty sure at his level, coming from the sports world and flying straight into YouTube, pretty sure he's got something good going on. But yeah, 500,000 straight out for an episode, and then monetizing on top of that, building new relationships, and yeah, being able to adjust your rates, knowing that you're that platform. I don't know. It's still an
Oh
option.
yeah, he's gonna probably from this, he'll probably make millions because to your point, all the other they had their own social media. I see Kevin Hart respond to other folks, but you gotta go to the shade room now to talk about okay, you need 3 hours to refute everything that Cat Williams said. So you gotta go there.
Yeah. Yeah. Who else is going to run you 3 hours like that in a comfy couch with the, no, it's cool. I'm proud of him for
Yeah.
that.
No, and then yeah, I like how we're doing a breakdown, business breakdown. Maybe we'll talk about that more. But you're right. 25 million views in 3 days is exceptionally rare. And so that doesn't even happen. Even Mr. Beast, I don't know, think gets that to that level. And I love how it was something that was more organic than just the schemes that Mr. Beast comes up with to get you to click. And then is he gonna die from being buried alive for 7 days? I don't care. I think that's to me, I think that's where content needs to go to more engagement, but it's extremely rare because it's hard to find people that are that good for 3 hours, and that's tough. But
Wait,
anyway, yeah.
did you see this whole thing coming?
Which one?
No, the whole Cat Williams thing, just drama at the beginning of the year.
No one did. Cat Williams is verbal. We all know that can be controversial. And wait a minute, let's be honest. Let's not put Cat Williams on this pedestal of the bastion of what's good in comedy and who's good and who's not. This dude, let's be honest, was fighting middle schoolers not too long ago. Remember, he was
It's
actually spending a lot of time in jail. Please can't don't come after me, man. He's like, like leak this out, and Cat's like, "Who's this podcaster?" He comes start coming after me, but so he's
but
got
he's
his problems too.
but he's toned down his language, so put a nice halo on top of his portrait.
Oh yeah, do you like his comedy? It's subjective, of course, but do you like his comedy?
Not so much.
Yeah, same here. It was weird. I saw this one of his early ones, right? Pimp Chronicles, I think that was it. And I said, okay, it's funny. He was what Money Mike, right? And so
Mhm.
from next Friday, that's how I knew him. So I said, okay, he's a funny guy, the way he speaks, he's a real guy, whatever. And then he started getting to more political stuff in his later comedian. I was like, I don't know if I want to laugh about Trump jokes with Cat Williams. I don't know. Just don't hit the same.
Yeah, it's definitely a style, and I'm not saying he's not good, but he's just got a style, and you'll come to figure that out with comedians. I don't know, people on the internet seem to have this on or off. He's funny or he's not. It's yeah, you can say that, but it's an art. So at some point, you're gonna have to get to the level of understanding comedy enough where it's, oh no, that guy is funny. He's intelligent. I see what he's doing. I see the reaction that person gets, but it's not my style. Cat Williams
We
just
talked about this.
not my style.
Yeah, we talked about this, right? The Chris Rock and Kevin Hart documentary, which I haven't seen yet. So I don't, maybe just, I don't think either of those guys as funny as they used to be anymore, but that's just my take on it. But he said, Chris Rock said,
Yeah.
yeah,
What
Chris
if Chris?
Rock's,
Go on. Sorry.
yeah, Chris Rock said being funny is subjective, but what he said, getting people to laugh is not, or something to that effect. And so basically, if you craft the joke well and you practice, you know how to do it right, you can make anybody laugh.
No,
And
selling
so,
tickets, I thought you said.
yo, maybe that's what it was. Yeah, I can't recall. Yeah, but no, I think said comedy is subjective, but getting people to laugh is not, or something like that. Get the audience to laugh was not. But we're quote, Mr. Bench is going to go ahead and check me on that quote. But we thought that was an interesting quote. But I think it's more of a skill and an art to figure that out. And I think Cat Williams does understand that. But to your point, yeah, I may have to check his next comedy special. I think he has one coming out, so we're gonna check it out and see what he's talking about. But because I think that's gonna be a money banger. I wouldn't be surprised he does a live Netflix show like Chris Rock did. I guarantee you, Mr.
A
Benja.
live one.
We're gonna talk about predictions later, but that's my prediction there. A live
Just live.
Netflix show,
Yeah.
25 million for Cat Williams.
Yeah, basically. Let me ask you this. Speaking of 2024, we're just now getting started. Do you have any predictions? I know you like predictions, and I had some, I don't know, I would say predictions or thoughts. Do you have anything you want to go through? Let's just run through a little list. Can we do that? You got a little time here.
Let's do it.
All right. First of all, I didn't even know how to categorize this one. Are we okay? How is everyone's mental health? There's like a war going on. People
Two.
are, yes, too. People are very upset about everything, and people that are down and somber at the same time. So it's a very weird time. I don't know if it gets better.
This is gonna be a crazy time. The presidential election is coming this year, right? And so they're already gonna have Iowa caucuses. If you don't know, that's the beginning of this circus show. And so Trump gets back in there, and we know what that's gonna be like. But I don't know. It's gonna be. I feel it's gonna be different this time. But we'll discuss as we see more. And then also AI, man, the interference of AI in the election, what that gonna look like, but AI in general.
Mhm.
I think there were some reports that even after shenanigans of what's happening with Sam Altman, that whole firing, non firing thing over at OpenAI, they're still bringing in close to $1 billion in revenue, annualized revenue. So basically, they're growing. OpenAI investments in AI systems still impede. So
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to affect us in this year.
I got a idea on AI for this year. A little prediction, a thought maybe. We're going to see the first big widespread scare from AI where everybody's, holy crap, what? "Oh god, that happened?" And then you're gonna have people just getting you're gonna see a stronger pullback. I don't know, maybe somebody throws a rock at a self-driving Tesla. I don't know.
Yeah.
That
There's a movie called The Creator that talked about that. People are uprising against the AI, right? And yeah. Okay. I wrote it down, Mr. Benja. So you think a scare will happen in some form or fashion and that would push us back from AI. I love it. I love it.
I don't know if it pushes
I
I
don't
don't know
have
if it pushes back, but there's gonna be some contention. I did say pushback, but actually I don't know about that. There's just gonna be a scare, some contention. People are gonna fight on both sides, and yeah, we may get some new age hippies out of this.
I love it. I love it. All right, Mr. Benja, President election. I have a prediction. I'm just gonna throw it out here too, since we're starting the predictions. I will say this year that I don't think Trump will be the go-getter that we think he is for excitement for the election. I think Trump is done. But there will be someone else that would arise up to grab attention because you can't have it'll be a vacuum. There's someone's gotta fill that vacuum with attention. I just don't know who that will be. But somebody will rise up. And it may even come from someone who's not even running right now, maybe an entertainer. Heck, I could even see Cat Williams jumping in the ring.
I was about to say, you get Cat Williams to start roasting on anybody coming up, roasting on what's his name? Biden. The Cat
There you
Williams
go.
roast of Biden. Just on
Yeah.
fire.
But there's gotta be somebody that's gonna drive attention. So I don't know who that's gonna be yet, but I do feel like Trump. I think he's old news now. People are like, been there, done that. I need a new show. And let's be honest, the presidential election is a show. And so we need a star. So someone's gonna rise up, and I don't know who
Wow.
that's gonna be.
Bars. Bars. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna write that in the notes. We're gonna keep saying that every once in a while. You know it's good when you hear bars, bars. All right, what other predictions?
Social media, what you got here?
Social media, okay. So it's weird. I was online. I was thinking about we talked last year about social media taking that turn from being this social thing and to a topic based thing. I had two big thoughts. One adding on to last year's thought of everybody moving into communities. So you're gonna have these smaller little community based apps where you can just get you and your friends together. And it's not like this big outside world. Only thing is, how exactly do you monetize that? And that's gonna fundamentally set up how that type of social media plays out. People have been talking about extensions of podcast, like extensions of what YouTube is doing with its memberships. Like you can become a member to somebody like our girl Grace from Beyond the Trailer. So I almost called her Grace Jones. Terrible. But so you're going to get more of that community action where you're just going to find these bubbles of people doing their own thing, and you have no idea how big it is until you like walk into a theater and you see everybody dressed up like Beyonce. You're like, what is this? And it's, oh no, they're having a Beyonce movie. And it's, oh, okay. You're going to get more of that just happening in weird places. And secondly, this changeover of most general social media into everyone's personal media outlet. Now, I know we've said this before, but I think we're going to see an interesting shift where you're not just you don't go to Instagram to see people. You go to Instagram because that's the new version of television. So you're on Instagram like it was television. You're flipping through, switching channels. You're not expecting to see real people. You're expecting to see everybody doing America's Funniest Video skits. You're expecting to see drama played out, but you're not expecting to see anything like it's a magazine stand digital in your hand, basically. You're just flipping through all this stuff that's not quote unquote real. So I think that's hurting people. I flirted with the idea a little bit last 2 years, but really this year I'm seeing it happening now where it's a magazine.
So if you want to net it, what are you predicting specifically? Are you saying more to communities and a more personalized kind of
We're
social media? What are you predicting?
I'm not making a prediction because I'm not good at that like you, Theo. I'm sorry.
It's
No, I don't know how to put it.
it's
I don't know how to put it into words. No, it's just like this concept of your phone not being a portal to other people and connecting, it becomes like a magazine. So the earlier thing a long time ago that Gary Vee said about everybody becoming their own little media company,
Yeah.
it's playing out through Instagram, through Threads, through Twitter, X, through Snapchat, whatever. So how does that play out? And how do you get a prediction out of that?
No, what you're saying, Scott Galloway hinted at this too. We all become our own little media bubbles, right? Everything's becoming so more personalized that it's almost hard to relate. Yes, we relate on few things, but then my YouTube channel is so different from your YouTube channel, right? And what we understand and view. So I'm bringing some concepts that you never even thought of before. So it sounds like what you're saying is it'll become so personalized. Social media is like we think will be harder to relate, and the only way we can relate is through certain key touch points, like a Cat Williams interview or something like that.
I think everything is just becoming a stage. And that's will we get to the point? Yeah, I guess you will need touch points like that and how we relate to people. But I'm just saying the platform is completely you're not seeing anyone's real life anymore.
Gotcha,
That's
gotcha.
already the
Okay.
case. But it's the year where I think everybody just accepts that social media is not about your friends at all.
I love it. I love it. No one accepts that social media. Bars.
Bars. You gotta say it twice.
Bars. Yeah.
Bars.
I'm buying your friends. I love it. Okay. I like it. I like it. Just real quick. So at Ryan McGann event, he talked about this. Yes, the views help because it gets you more known and exposure. But back in the day when you got a million views for something that went viral, and you would get 10,000 followers easy. He says now you get a million views, you probably get roughly about 1,000. So there's diminishing returns on this viral content. Now I think people are used to it, and it's going to be very hard to get people to stay connected to you on social media. My prediction is, even though I'm doing it all in on attention because I want to grow a little bit faster, but my prediction is that we need to start focusing on people are going to realize, to your point, social media is not the be all end all to grow massively quickly. And the people who are going to be doing the work daily, like you said, the communities, the outreach, doing that one-on-one kind of going back to basics, meet people in person, God forbid, and building followers that way, doing speeches on stage. I think that's going to be the way you draw true following. You got to have more mix of the real world to grow your social media following. And then your social media following will help your real world. So I think people need to realize they need to have both. So I think we're going to see more and more gurus. We're starting to see that now. Ryan McGann doing a attention summit and all he does is social media stuff. He just do a free event. And so he realized the importance that he has to be out in the public. That's going to
Yeah.
make him more real. And he didn't make it virtual either. So no one could actually come in. They have to actually fly in to go see it. So I
Yeah.
thought that was an interesting
Right.
choice. So I guess my prediction, to keep it simple, is that everyone is realizing that social media is not really how you grow. You're going to need the real world to help you grow your social media presence.
What is this real world you speak of? Yeah, man. It's an interesting time. And yeah, all little social media companies. That's a interesting way of thinking about people, but there it is. And we previously had our streaming wars, but that pretty much came to an end, right?
Yeah, Netflix one. We talked about this.
Yeah.
I know Netflix one, Mr. Benja. Because
How's
whenever
it?
you go to Netflix, every time there's some Disney stuff up there. There's some HBO stuff. I
Oh
think
yeah, yeah.
Aquaman is up there now. So it's
Hey man, I'm telling you, they're just doing that little thing where they're not trying to show you anything, but they're just showing you something, and you don't like, hey, what was that? That was a Disney movie. Just make sure.
exactly, exactly. So we will move on to streaming wars since that's pretty much over. Do you have any quick MCU, DC predictions or anything like that for the future?
You know what? Echo is coming out on the 10th, January 10th. I'll know after they make their little if they've made their turnaround after I see Echo. I'll because that's where they said they were going to turn things around and change. So I don't know until I watch Echo. We'll come back next.
Mr. Benja say that MCU is back, baby.
Maybe right. DC is being stupid, so I'm not even gonna talk about them. They're doing bad. They're gonna keep they're James Gunn will have one movie and the rest of it'll just be weird.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, high level, my prediction. Yeah, man, I think superheroes are not dead, but they need to really reinvent a lot of things. But I will say this. I think they're going to replace King. Obviously, they talked about it. They're not going to get rid of the movie. It's already slated. And they're probably going to replace it with a new actor, Carlos Domingo, that's already out there. He played Rustin. You've seen him in The Walking Dead. And I saw this actor years ago in the theater, man. He was just a little small little play. I could go up and talk to him, and now he's big time. That's how actors do. Yeah, my prediction is we'll see Marvel still move on with King and get their mojo back as well. I'm predicting that MCU is back too, baby. I don't give up, man. Kevin Feige is too smart, man. I just, in Feige, I trust. I think he's going to get MCU back on track.
All right. All right. That's all I got, man.
Awesome. Awesome. Man, I love it, man. I love this new format. Hey, guys, if you like this new format, let us know in the comment section. But yeah, go check us out. Like, subscribe at Show versus Business on X, YouTube, and Instagram. Go check us out for our original podcast, Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And then go check out our website also at Show versus Business. Mr. Benja, have a great one.
Peace in 2024.
What if? Oh.